Hi, Vinny from Clubscraft, where we help sports coaches spend more time with their athletes. And today's topic is going to be one where I rant about a beef that I was having for the last few weeks. Um, so, over the last few weeks, I have found a bunch of videos where some personal trainers are talking about how running is either bad for you, unhealthy, makes no sense, or is in some other form just a waste of time. And those types of contents have been popping up a lot. And I tried a few times to just say my thoughts on it, but it quickly came um, up that a few people had strong opinions on why running basically is bad for your health, and this was basically part of a wider trend that I could observe. So today's video is going to be a little more unstructured, and I will be looking at a few different places where I have a few notes on what people say about running. And yeah, it's funny to read some of those comments, but I'll try and dive into some of those comments and say why they are wrong, and also give a perspective on running in general and how we humans have developed um, to prefer running as one of the means of our moving around through the environment. So the first thing that many people say is that um, running is bad for you because it can hurt your knees, your hips, your back, because of the stress that it puts on you. And one of the videos from a personal coach said that it's special gravitational stress that is affecting your joints and your basically your entire body. And I really don't understand what um, gravitational stress is, because you are experiencing it every day of your life, because you are on Earth and you are moving around. And yeah, it is true that if you are putting a lot of pressure, and if you're running uh, in if you are basically running with bad form, that you are putting stress on some parts of your body, and this might trigger some ailments in the future if not addressed. But as I said in the beginning, humans have evolved over millions of years to prefer walking and then running as one of the ways to move through the environment. And we have a lot of indications why this is true. And there are also hints in our physiology that tell us that we as humans have evolved to prefer running. One of the indications that running is something that we excel at is a special ligament, I think, which is at the back of the skull, which basically helps us keep our head straight and keep it in balance while we are running, so that when you are running behind prey and you are basically hunting, you always have narrow focus on the animal that you are chasing. We can also, while running, we can move our shoulders without our head bobbing up and down, which is again an adaptation to running as part of our um, of us, what makes us human. There are also a lot of stories where running plays a crucial role in culture of different people. So in Latin America, there is I read once about a group of people who practice regular running by from city to city. It's over very long distances. They would drink beer made from corn, which has something like a few thousand calories, and then just by using this source of energy, they would go from one place to another, and they would be kicking a small ball, which probably helps them focus and just keeps them going ever so slightly after the ball. There is also a ritual in ancient Egypt where the pharaoh, after 30 years of reign, would have a special feast in his honor. They would have some sacrifices and other religious happenings going on. But the key part was that the pharaoh would have to run 4 loops on a course, and they would change their clothes while doing this. And if they couldn't run those 4 laps, they would be looked as unfit to continue ruling. And they would basically do this every 3 years to prove that they are still in physical capacity to rule the kingdom. In ancient Greece, running was also one of the Olympic sports, and that's where the word stadium comes from, because the track on which they ran was called stadion, and then we adapted the word stadium for it. And it was around 150 to 250 meters, so give or take 200 meters was the entire course. The problem was that the Greek foot, the length for Greek foot, wasn't standardized, so different venues had different stadium lengths. It was first just one 200-meter run. There was also a 400-meter run. They added also a 4K race. So running was part of the culture, and this is something that's played out over and over through history. That running is part of of us being human. And but now when you mention all of these things, then people say, yeah, but they weren't running on concrete, they were running on dirt, which is true, but they didn't have the technology to create awesome shoes, which we now have with tremendous cushioning and providing you stability in your ankles. And running on concrete or on a track gives you a predictable surface. So if you compare running on concrete and running through the woods, running through the woods is much more dangerous, or can have potential of you stepping on something and twisting your ankles, while running on concrete is much more predictable and safer for you. So if you have the right shoes, running on concrete shouldn't be a problem. Then there is the saying that running is also bad for your heart, which isn't true. Running improves the heart muscle, improves circulation, and it can lower the risk of heart diseases as well. I will be posting a bunch of links in the description so you can check them out for yourself. That's something that you also have to keep in mind, that if you ask someone to give you where they have found those, where they get the insight that running or something else is bad for your health, they will usually just refer to some anecdotal evidence, like one person that I was talking to, and he said that he was of the conviction that running is bad for your knees because the cartilages are going to get depleted, which again isn't true, and I'll post a link for this as well. But the kicker was that he was telling me that he was running for 30 years, and once he stopped running, that everything was fine with his knees and hips. So I don't know through which pain the person has been running for 30 years, and the mindset that this person had, that if they had problems with their knees for 30 years, then all of a sudden realize, oh, maybe I should stop running. So I really don't get it. But one of my favorite arguments is when two different camps argue for about the same thing but in opposite directions. So one camp says that running isn't good for building muscle, and then the other group says that, that running isn't good for weight loss, and then the other one says that running is only good for weight loss. So it's, yeah, again, it's something where you can see that a lot of people have different opinions, and then one camp says that you can only lose weight while running, and you cannot build muscle mass, which isn't really true. If you start doing some hill repetitions, you will build strength in your muscles. And then the other one says that you need muscle mass to build strength. I would highly encourage them to run for, let's say, 2 hours every day. They'll see they'll will for sure see their weight drop very soon. Then there is also the notion that you have to run long to have any benefit when running, which isn't true. If you are just starting out, a 20-30 minute run is perfectly fine, because your body is still adapting to this new all this new stress that you're accumulating. So run for 20-30 minutes, have a day or two off, and then continue running. That's going to give you a lot of benefits in the short term. And then once you build up your strength, once you build up your endurance, then you can start going longer, and you can go up to 3.5 hours. My longest runs are around 30 to 35 kilometers for the 3 hour length, and I feel perfectly fine. I never had any problems with my back or hips or whatever. Of course, there is the occasional overuse issues, but this is just because you or everyone who is having those issues and don't has a medical history of knee pain, joint pain, whatever, they just neglect recovery, and their body just cannot absorb all the stress that it's accumulating through exercise. There is also the notion that you shouldn't run every day, which again is something that's applicable only to someone who's just starting out. You can run every day if you have built up enough endurance, enough strength that you can tolerate these things. But it's not always going to be an hour, 2 hour, 3 hour run. Sometimes you just want to go out, have a 20-minute run just to get the blood flowing, and then you're done. So it won't matter that much if you are running every day. There are also all of these, which I mentioned, that it's burning not enough calories, which isn't. I mean, every exercise that you do burns certain amount of calories. If you are seeing that you're running every day, or 3, 4, 5 times a week, and you're not seeing your weight drop, the most likely issue is that you are rewarding yourself after the run with something that you shouldn't, and you are putting a lot more calories in than you are putting out. People have to understand that a lot of most of the energy you consume throughout the day comes just by being alive. The amount of calories you burn when you're exercising is negligible for most exercises. If you're working out, if you're doing, for example, a 5 hour long bike ride or a 2-3 hour run, you are going to be burning significant amount of calories. But if you are just running 30, 40, 50 minutes, it's going to be in the 400, 500 calorie range, maybe plus or minus depending on your fitness level and weight. But this isn't something that can allow you to just binge out in the in the kitchen. So weight loss is done in the kitchen, and by reducing the amount of calories you consume. And all the benefits that come from exercise or running in this particular case come from are your cardiovascular improvements. Your heart gets stronger, you are in a better mood. And so it's not about losing weight, it's just about creating a lifestyle that enables you to do other good stuff to your body. And then combined with being mindful with what you eat is something that is going to enable you to be a much healthier version of yourself. And one more thing that I wanted to touch upon was the guy who was talking about gravitational stress and cardio or running being a bad cardio exercise was he was talking about running being bad because it's a unilateral exercise. So you are using one leg and then the other, which is, yeah, that's how running works. But his his alternatives were a rowing machine, or the skiing simulators where you are pulling these cables, which is, yeah, you're using both sides of your body, and you're using your back, which is a huge muscle group. But the other thing that he suggested was a stepper, where you are climbing up the stairs, so you are using one leg and then the other, which is a unilateral exercise in his definition. And the other one was cycling, where you again use one leg then the other, so you're again unilaterally using your legs. And these, in his opinion, were fine, but yeah, running is for some reason a um, bad exercise. So yeah, in conclusion, running is good for you. Check out the links in the video description. Sorry for me ranting here for some 15 minutes. And yeah, it's just something that I wanted to put out. If you are seeing someone claiming something extraordinary, ask them to give you their sources, and usually they will just go back to anecdotal evidence, which isn't applicable to most of the people. So yeah, thank you for sticking around for so long, and see you next time. Bye bye.